You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Oh, welcome. Well, we've already got comments coming in. People are watching. How awesome is this? I know, Stacey, 192,000 views and downloads of the show. I can't even tell you. You know, the goal was to get to 100,000 in the first 6 months of the show, and we are now in the 7th month, I believe, of the show, and we're already at almost 200,000 views. And so right now is the perfect time to just share the show. Right now, wherever you're watching, listening, however you're consuming this show, now's a great time. And let's get to 200,000 by February 1st, shall we? I think we can do it with your help. Okay. Also, if you know anything about me, you know, what are we, like 90% water or something? And I think I'm about, the rest of me is pure peanut butter. And it's National Peanut Butter Day. And this is my favorite peanut butter. It's called Naked Peanut Butter or Naked PB. And you can get it on our shop, makeyourdayricher.com/shop. It's fantastic. It's vegan, and it is literally 2 pounds of peanuts and nothing else. And then you just put a little oil, put a little whatever you want. I put it in shakes, so you don't have to add anything to it. And it's fantastic. So there you go. Go buy that and celebrate National Peanut Butter Day with me. It's Friday, and I love Fridays because I get to record with the Gorilla HR podcast, which is a podcast that I help produce and edit that's going to be premiering soon. The host will be here. Becky will be here on premiere day to talk about it right here in the studio. Audience, we haven't had a guest here in the studio in a long time, so I'm excited to have her. It's also a good day for me because my dog's at the groomer, and so she won't be here during the show. She won't be bothering me all day to go for a walk because it's 16 degrees. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I'm assuming parents can relate to this of like when your kids are around all summer and they finally go to a friend's house for the day and you don't have to worry and you can sit and do whatever you want, which is a ton of stuff or nothing. That's how I feel today. She's gone. She's here all the time, and so am I. So we're probably sick of each other. All right, we do have a great show today on this beautiful Friday. Vicki-Ann Bush is here, who has a great young adult series that she's going to talk about. Kristof Morrow is here, who also has a series he's going to talk about. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Vicki-Ann Bush after this. Don't go away.
Listen, everyone needs a co-conspirator to reimagine their lives and uncover the opportunities in the challenges they face. If you are looking for the place where hope meets possibility and you are ready to create a life of meaning despite the diagnosis, look no further. Helen is a certified professional coach with a background in medical research and an autoimmune diagnosis who brings compassion, empathy, and your best interests to every conversation. Learn more about coaching with Helen at helensampsonmullen.com.
All right, I just got to make sure everything's fine around here. There's a lot that happens during those breaks. They say the truth is stranger than fiction, but I think my first guest might disagree. Drawing inspiration from her own family's experiences with the supernatural, please welcome the author of the award-winning Alex McKenna young adult series, Vicki-Ann Bush. Where'd she go? She's right there. Hi, Vicki.
Hi.
It was like she left me. She didn't like her introduction and she left.
Never.
How
I would
are you?
never leave.
Well,
I'm
thanks for
good.
being
How are
here.
you?
I'm fantastic. I am fantastic. Tell everybody about the Alex McKenna series.
Alex McKenna is a 17-year-old transgender boy with psychic abilities. He has um, they're more than just, the average what you would think of when you talk about somebody with who has any kind of extra is what I like to call it.
Mm, yeah.
Because his abilities grow as he gets older, and Alex goes into the realm of being able to have telekinesis and communication, without speaking, and it just keeps growing as he gets older. He comes from a long line of gifted Italian witches. I know I should say strega, but I never want to label it. So it says strega in the book, but I say Italian witches. And the reason I say that is because I come from an Italian family. And on my mom's side is where I say we're sensitive. And so
Mhm.
I don't want to, you know, I like just saying Italian witches.
Okay.
But Alex's story is focused on the paranormal, not his transgender journey. It's sprinkled in so people know who Alex is. Alex is who Alex is.
Mhm.
But the focus is to bring you into the paranormal and the fantasy and the fiction.
Where did the idea for the stories come from? Like this, I'm always fascinated by fiction writers because you can do anything and go anywhere and create anything you want. And how do you get it down to a story? Like my brain would be everywhere. So I'm curious, kind of, if I know some of this has come from real life.
Mhm.
And so how did you come up with this story?
Well, Alex himself written for someone who's very dear to me. And I wanted them to be able to have a character that they could relate to, but also enjoy the fiction, the paranormal. As far as the paranormal goes, there has been, there's just a series of things that have been in my life since as long as I can remember, and my mom and my grandma. And so I take little things that we've experienced and then I blow it up. you know, that's where the fantasy comes in,
Uh-huh.
because as much as I'd like to think I could probably move something with my mind, it ain't happening. So
Yet.
Yeah,
Yet.
yet. So it's part fantasy, part reality, and then once I get the idea, like you, there's a lot going on in my head, and I have to kind of take a breath and calm it down, to be able
Mhm.
to start putting it down in a book, because there's too much going on all the time.
Well, yeah, I asked an author that once, like, where do you come up with your ideas? And he said, it's not coming up with ideas. It's filtering the ideas and figuring out which ones are the really bad ones.
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. Someone said to me, my husband recently retired, and they said, "Are you going to retire?" And I go, "Am I going to retire from what?" And they, "Are you going to retire from writing?" And I said, "No, I can't retire
Yeah.
from writing. How else would I get the voices in my head out?"
Yeah. It get real dangerous otherwise.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be pretty.
Did you did you always want to be a writer? Were you always like growing up? Were you writing?
I did. I always wrote, but I never wrote like an actual novel. I would write poetry. I would write short
Mm.
stories. I always said, it's funny because I didn't even realize that I did this, but I ran into someone years later that I used to work with, and they said, "Oh, you finally did it. You did it. You became an author." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, I used to say it all the time. That's what you wanted to do." I didn't even realize that I did that. So I'm going to say yes and no. Not, not that I was aggressively trying to do this, but I guess somewhere deep inside, this is what I really wanted to do.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. I love that. Then it formed you. You didn't even know you didn't even know you needed to do it, but you just did it. I
Yeah.
love that. I have a question about writing a series because you also have some standalone books
Mhm.
that are out there and available. When you're starting a series, do you know how many books are going to be in that series? does it turn into a series because you just have written so much that shouldn't be in one book?
That's a really good question. With the Alex series, after I wrote the first book, I knew there was more stories I wanted to tell.
Mm.
By the second book, I felt that it would be four. It would be four books. So I don't know. I think it's different for every series because The Darkest Light, which is novel form, actually started out in a series of novellas. So and that's three. That was three novellas. So I didn't know it was going to be three novellas. I just was continuing this story. With
Mm.
Alex, they're standalones. So you have this series, you have the continuity of Alex and his family and his girlfriend Margaret. But once the book is finished, the story is done. So I don't know why I felt that it was going to be four because I wasn't continuing anything. But I just knew. I just knew by the second book it would be four.
Ah, that's interesting. I want to talk about representation in books, in film, in TV, and why that's important and why it was important to write the book the way you did.
It's important because it needs to be thought of, addressed, and it just needs to be, how can I say? I'm trying to say this very tactfully. The subjects that are in there in regards to, say, Alex being transgender, or in one of my books that I just finished, to have couples that are gay couples, to have diversity. This is how it should be because this is
Mhm.
who we are. This is who we are. Not as I'm not talking about our country. I'm talking about the world. This is who we are. This is how it is. And to try and deny or close your eyes or want to change it, th- that's ridiculous to me. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. And I thought, in the very beginning when I first started writing, I had that little bit of author fear. Oh my gosh, can I do this or should I do this or what's everybody going to say or what's going to happen to me? And I got to the point where I realized that frankly, I don't care because
Mhm.
this is what it is. This is what I have to say. And there are many people who are very, very close to me who deserve the same treatment, the same opportunity, the same life as everyone else who is considered the norm.
Mhm. Hmm. That would be a good mic drop. End of the conversation. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. But I kind of want to play a game with you. Will you play a game with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to work because this is something I just came up with. But we're going to see. All right. So I have my crown here. And I have in here are a bunch of words that have to do with like paranormal. And what I'm going to do, and I forgot one of them. Hold on. Oh, this is a live show. I might just have to run and get it. Good thing I don't have pajama pants on. I have real pants on. I need paper. Let me go get paper. Hold on, everyone. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, we're back. That's why I need a staff. Okay, so this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to give myself, it's like Pictionary kind of. So I'm
Okay.
going to set a timer for 30 seconds, and I'm going to be able to draw timer. This all should have been set up, but it wasn't. And then I'm going to have 30 seconds to pick one of these out, draw it, and then you have to guess what it is.
Okay.
And if you get 3 out of 5, I don't know, I'm just making this up, the entire studio audience gets all of your books. There's no studio audience. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I see. We're in fantasy land now, right?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
We're
Okay.
visiting.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. Here's my first one. I have 30 seconds. Oh crap. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, this seems like it's good. You know what that is?
Potion.
Yes, perfect. Oh my gosh, and we had time left. Okay. Are you ready for the next one? We need 2 more. Okay, start. I'll just use this. Oh, that was not good. Not good. And again. 10 seconds. Oh, this is going to be a stretch. This is going to be a stretch. I'm so sorry. Do you know what that is?
Haunted house?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're perfect. Oh my god, you're so good at this. Okay, final one. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I can do this. Okay. I don't even know if I do anything else. Do you know what that is?
Graveyard.
Oh my gosh, you're perfect. Everyone in the audience gets all of Vicki-Ann's books. Yeah. In the studio audience, your books, I appreciate it. What do you love most about your life right now?
Honestly, where we moved to.
Mm.
We were only here for 2 months, and I absolutely just feel I feel at home. I'm originally, I told you, from back east, and I never quite felt like, after we left, I never quite felt like I was at home again until we came here.
Doesn't that
Yeah.
feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel too about where I'm at. Yeah, it feels like you feel so grounded, and you feel
Yes.
like, yeah.
It's a perfect word. Grounded.
Yeah. When we pulled, not that this matters, this isn't my therapy session, but when we pulled in, the day we moved in, there's like a pond kind of in front of our house because there's a park. And we pulled in and we turned the corner to get to the house and we saw it and we both went, and like that was it. And we still every 2 years later walk by that pond and go, I can't believe we live here. And it's just a pond. Like
I'm doing that now with the pine trees. I look
yeah.
out my window and I see these ginormous pine trees, and it brings me back to my childhood back east. And I just look at it and I'm like, I can't believe I'm looking at this view.
Yeah.
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 I love
Every
it.
day. Every
Yeah.
day. What's the best way that people can connect with you?
There's my website, which is
Good.
vickiannbush.com. And then also I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and everything is at Vicki-Ann Bush. So it's pretty easy to find me.
Okay, good.
Oh,
It
and
has been
YouTube.
and YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Also a great place. And if you're watching on YouTube, we already tagged her there, so you can find her easily there. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on. I've had such a good time. I liked our game.
Well, good. Come back anytime. I love a good game. Then
Thank you.
that worked out. I got nervous that you wouldn't be able to see what I was drawing, so I'm glad it worked out.
It was great.
Yeah, and we gave away a ton of
A
books.
ton of books.
So there you go. It's a lot of work. A lot of work to do this job. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Kristof Morrow after this. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Join the party that is Make Your Day Richer TV by advertising your brand, business, or project during the show. Use us to promote what you're doing to make our viewers' day richer. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
If you only knew what happened during these commercial breaks, it would be, I should start live streaming these things. All right, our next guest is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. A disabled U.S. veteran, #1 Amazon best-selling author, and award-winning journalist, he's overcome incredible challenges, including living with Tourette's syndrome, to achieve his dreams. His passion for storytelling has never wavered. Please welcome the author of The Second Son, Kristof Morrow. Thank you, sir.
Oh, good. Shakespeare. Good morning. Good morning.
How are, how are you?
I'm Shakespeare. I'm doing really well. I have Tourette's for the people that don't know. It's a neurological condition.
When
Shakespeare.
were you diagnosed with Tourette's?
Shakespeare. I was diagnosed when I was 27, actually.
Okay.
But it started when I was in the Navy. So.
Yeah, you have had quite the life. You were in the Navy. How long were you in the Navy for?
So about a year, Shakespeare, about a year and a half, and
Okay.
yeah, and I wasn't deployable really anymore because of Tourette's. So they didn't
But
know
it's
that's what it
when.
was. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Did they think it was something else, or they just didn't know?
They thought it might have been like a brain infection at first. I had a
Mm.
bunch of tests done. They were trying to figure out what it was, and they never did though. They never figured it out. It wasn't until I got out and was, I was far older than I am than I was when it first started. That yeah, that it was actually diagnosed, and it was funny because it was so. He was so cavalier about it. He was like, "Oh, let's get you something to treat that Tourette's," and I was like, "Wait, I have Tourette's." Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow. Was it since you went from like not knowing what was going on and to finally having an answer, did it make it easier? Like just know finally having an answer? What was that like to finally find out?
Yeah, I think that it clarified a lot of things. It made it much easier to manage because I knew where to look for answers about,
Yeah.
like what was going on with my brain, and um, and also to find people that may be suffering similar to me. But
Hmm.
it turns out there are very few people with Tourette's actually in adulthood anyway.
Oh wow.
Most people, I think like something like 90% of people who develop it in childhood, it goes away by the time they're adults.
Oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
so if so is there like a chance that it does go away for you or we don't know?
Shakespeare. No, it's not going to go away for me.
Okay.
It's here to stay permanently. The people that develop it and it stays on into adulthood, they're stuck with it for life in some form or another.
Hmm. Okay. I know you started writing while you were in the Navy. I
Mhm.
love how you say I think I read that you taught yourself how to write during that time.
I did. Shakespeare. I had no choice, really. Just like anybody that was, that's already committed themselves to something, which was the Navy for me, and I wasn't in school for it. Obviously, I had to, and so I had to teach myself. I developed a really great affection for words, and and for me at first it was about like experimenting with sounds and with the music of ideas, and but it blossomed into something that I adore my work, so.
Yeah, you now have a series.
Mhm.
It's called the Second Son series. How does that feel to one, like just to get the first book out, right? And now you have
Mhm.
three? Like, well, how does
Yeah,
that feel?
it's pretty cool. It's extraordinary feeling. It's as good as you think it would be if you wrote a book and you thought, man, that would must be so fulfilling to finally have completed something that so few people actually end up doing in life.
Yeah.
uh and even fewer that end up doing it well. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
because not that I did it well. I have to I guess suppose I'll find out based on reviews, which they've been so far very generous. But yeah, it's an extraordinary amount of work, uh and it's hard to get. It's one of those things that's hard to get feedback because most people just want to enjoy it, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of move on, I guess.
Tell everybody what the series is about.
Well, it kind of sums it up. Like right, the very first line in the book is "change is the breath of chaos,"
Mm.
which demonstrates, I think, which sort of describes the whole notion of like climate change. It's actually an epic fantasy that talks about climate change, and like this is like happening in this fantasy world, very similarly to what's happening now in our world. There's wildfires. There's freak weather, like in there's The oceans are changing dramatically, like the composition of of sea life and things like that. It's all of it is changing around these characters, and they're all trying to figure out what's going on. All the while, they're dealing with all the same problems we are, and in a sense, it's not like totally completely analogous. I try to to draw some distinctions between the two, because there is a little bit of magic, right? Just like any epic fantasy would. But Shakespeare. But yeah, there's empire, there's slavery, there's pirates, there's giants, and I mean all manner of things happening, all the while the climate change thing is going on, and it's the whole, yeah, it's everything. I try to become comprehensive in that sense.
Are you writing more in this series, or is the series over?
I'm writing volume 4 right now. I just hit 100,000 words today.
Oh my
For
gosh.
volume 4. Yeah. So for the people that don't know how many words that is, that's like The Hobbit. It's a little bit longer than The Hobbit right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Shakespeare. There's going to be a volume 4 and a volume 5, and then it's over.
That's exciting. I hope you come back for 4 and 5. Were you always a fan of fantasy novels growing up?
You know what's funny? Very few. Because I'm actually much more keen on Shakespeare, like classic literature. I adore it, and I especially like Charles Dickens, who is like, if I could, I actually found this out via Instagram, but someone told me that their professor uses my book as recommended reading to teach Charles Dickens.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
How
and
does that feel?
I cried for hours.
I bet.
Yeah, because I've always wanted to end up in a classroom in some way, shape, or form, and having achieved that was something I've always wanted my entire life. And for me, I wrote the book that I had always wanted to read, which was something that was epic in scope and scale, in a macro sense, and also, but it also explored so thoroughly the nature and habits of people in a way that was very intimate and revealing. Like I have things that I say, like a lot of people don't, when I tell them what prose is, they're like, I don't really know what that means. But like something like prose would be like saying, without death, new life would be simply addition without making us more. The notion that when we die, like that we give room for other things, and we become more, because death gives us size, which I think I've heard that somewhere.
Wow. You cried for hours when you found out it was in a class. How did it feel to know and to learn that? I mean, you're out there winning awards for these books as well.
Shakespeare. Well, for my especially, it's funny because I've always just sort of had a propensity for my work, like for writing. I worked as a reporter in Texas, and I won an award for an article that I had written that I didn't even know what a feature was, but I won an award for feature writing from the South, because they said, my editor said, go write a feature on this guy, and I was like, I don't know what that means. I didn't tell her that, but I went to my desk and I like Googled it, like how to write a feature, and I swear to God, I read a WikiHow article on how to do it.
Wow.
And then I was like, no, this isn't going to work for me. So I looked up a Vanity Fair article, a feature from a writer that I respected, and then just sort of used that style, or used that format, rather, that structure, to do my own. And so for me, like I've already won awards for like short fiction and poetry before, and at different colleges that I went to, I won their creative writing contests. I won all of them. So,
wow.
which was a shock to me. But yeah, no. So for me, I'm not used to it yet. I'm not quite used to it. Any kind of attention or any kind of renown for it. I just do my work as as humbly as I can, which is
Yeah.
really hard for me.
Well, yeah, it probably helps you continue to go and create, and not, if you don't really think about the awards, right? And all the
Yeah,
accolades.
yeah. I think that, I think that it can be validating and vindicating for a lot of people, and certainly is for me to get some kind of institutional recognition. Uh, but for now, like I'm so focused on the work itself. Uh, yeah, it doesn't really phase me at this point.
Do you have release dates yet for the next books, or are you just working on them?
Oh my gosh. Oh, volume 4 will be done in 2025 sometime.
Okay.
And then volume 5 will probably be done a little bit more than a year later. So around both of them around probably 2020. The whole series will be done by 2027.
Okay.
Mm,
Wow.
no.
It's always interesting to me how far in advance authors need to plan because of everything that goes into publishing a book.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary amount of that for sure. And forgetting things.
Uh-huh.
And then remembering it later and going, oh God, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're working on something for that long, it's hard to remember everything. And
Mhm.
I would always assume that by the time it's ready to go, I would be so sick of that book that I'd be like, yes, please get it out of here. I don't want to look at it again.
Yeah, it's a little bit like dressing your kid up for picture day. Because you're in the right outfit. You're like, you think, what do you think of this one? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, you don't know? Oh man, I don't know either. I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah. What did it feel like when you put out the first book? Like, how did that feel to finally put that out there for public consumption?
Like I said, like I had already worked as a reporter, and stuff. So like I was kind of used to my stuff already being read to some extent. But a book, I was terrified, so much so that like it destroyed my self-worth and my ability to like regulate. I was just so nervous about it because for me it was all that I had left available to me. The British Columbian government had been trying to find me a job that would accommodate Shakespeare, my condition, and they couldn't find one. And they told me on the phone, they said, maybe you should go back to writing because that's what you can do. And so about 10 minutes after that phone call, I hung up and started working on the first book.
Wow.
Yeah. And so for me, it was all that I had left to offer society, I felt like. And I wanted it to be exceptional to the quality that I hoped it could achieve.
I think you did that. I'll say, I think you accomplished that. You should be very proud of yourself. What do you love most about your life right now?
My friends and my work.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. What's the best way that people can connect with you and follow you?
On TikTok, for sure. I have that's where most of my followers have a little under 9,000 there. And on my website, kristofmorrow.com.
Perfect.
How long have you been doing this show? I'm curious to know. Make Your Day Richer.
I've been doing Make Your Day Richer since June of this year, but I had another show that I did for 6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you love the new format?
I love it. I think it's fun. I love meeting all the people. I do in-person stuff too, so people come and sit and.
You're in South Carolina.
I am in South Carolina. Are you still in Texas?
I'm in Charleston.
Oh, really? Well, we should have done an in-person one.
I know. I realized that after I read it. I was like, wait a minute.
Next time, for your next book, just come here and hang out here. But you were in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up there.
Where'd you grow up?
Around Houston area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I moved here from San Antonio.
Really?
Yeah.
So you know where
I didn't grow
Victoria
up in
is at.
San Antonio, but I grew up in Wisconsin, but I was in Texas for
Oh,
7
man.
years. Yeah.
Wisconsin. You don't have a Wisconsin accent.
I work very hard not to have a Wisconsin accent, sir. But let me tell you, when my brother calls me, it gets very thick because he has a really, like, all my family is still there, so they have very thick Wisconsin accents. So
Oh my goodness gracious.
yes, the O's start coming out very
Oh
thick.
yeah, come on,
Oh
guys.
yes, oh yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so next time, yes, you will be here in the studio in a chair chatting with us. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. The Second Son series available now. This is Kristof Morrow, everyone, and he'll be here next time. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
Oh, all right, there we go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend. Go make your day richer. Go make someone else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. On Monday's show, all new with my childhood idol, Annie Wood, who was here, and I took way too much of her time recording this interview, but she was a doll, and I'm excited to have you meet her if you don't know who she is already. If you are a 90s kid who was watching game shows, you might know her from the game show Buzz, which I used to pretend I was her in my bedroom when it's like 1997. But that's a different story. Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.